How did you get into teaching?
It's a long enough story that I won't go over all of it, but it has been something that I've been interested in doing ever since I left school, high school, way back when.
Go.
What made you want to be an English teacher over all the other subjects?
I chose English because I find it the most difficult. I always did really well in sciences and everything else. However, I really loved stories and storytelling. So I thought that would be much more enjoyable to teach than, you know, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell over and over again.
Go.
If you had the chance to switch to teaching a different subject, would you take it or stick with English? What would your next choice be for the next subject to teach?
I might switch. I've always loved history. I love science. And teaching something else would be just as enjoyable and could be just as challenging. So moving around could be fun.
1, go.
What is the largest and smallest classes you have ever had?
The largest class I've had is about 20 kids. Not as far as grade level, but actually in the classroom. So yeah, about 20 kids. So I've been very lucky to have small class sizes.
Go.
How do you like this school compared to other schools you worked at?
I really like this school. It's very interesting how different the social aspect of both teachers, administration, students are between the two schools that I've taught at. But I very much enjoy this one.
Go.
With COVID-19 and you being a new teacher here, how's the year been going so far?
About as well as you can expect it to. All sorts of technical glitches just because people don't have internet at home or don't realize that the Chromebook isn't a cup holder, have led to a number of interesting conversations. But about as well as could be expected, especially being new and meeting everyone while they're in quarantine.
Go.
You're one of the most energetic teachers in the school. Where does your energy and motivation come from?
Caffeine. Mostly caffeine. Also, if I can't have fun at my work, I don't want to be there. And so it stems from the desire to be able to have an honest conversation with students. I really like what I'm talking about most days. And because I really enjoy that, it allows that energy to come out. And caffeine. Coffee is a wonderful thing.
Good.
I've heard you like to play video games. What kind of video games do you like to play?
I find myself really playing like role-playing games. So kind of that single player, again, story-driven, so it kind of keeps to what I'm used to. Yeah, that's probably the one that I find myself playing the most.
So how long have you been playing video games?
5? Super Nintendo? Yeah. So it's been a thing.
Go.
What was your very first gaming system?
Super Nintendo was my first game system. My dad had games on his computer and things like that, but that was DOS, where you had to open up a prompt, type in the game that you were looking for, and type in BASIC to open it. So it was much harder for me to get to than put it in and hit the button and go. So Super Nintendo is probably where I started.
Go.
What kind of out-of-school activities do you like to do other than video games?
Well, I have an 8-year-old, so a lot of my favorite activities are whatever my 8-year-old is doing at the time. I'm also a big fan of cooking. I love food. I think most people, when they sit down to a meal, have way better conversation and way more to talk about, even though there's a lot of silence when the food first gets served, if it's good. And I really like baking. as kind of an offshoot of that too.
Go.
Do you like and or watch any sports?
I really like baseball, even though I don't watch it nearly as much as I used to. I watch a lot of football now, but that's because my wife is a big football fan. So I root for the ones that she's rooting for, keep the peace. I don't know why, but I've started really loving the idea of hockey, weirdly enough. Yeah, don't know where that one came from, but yeah.
Go.
Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Favorite movie is probably John Wick. From a cinematography standpoint and all the things that like a nerd like me loves. Godfather. TV shows really not much. I've never really been a TV show watcher. I think the first sitcom I watched was after I got married. Before then, I was like, Friends seems pointless. Seinfeld is not funny. Like, I want it to be, but it doesn't work for me.
Go.
What do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years?
Teaching. Whether it be English in the current spot I am now, which I very much see myself still doing. Eventually, I want to get my PhD. I love the idea of teaching college classes. That's been a goal of mine even before I graduated. And it was and is still a focus that I've had. I want to get my doctorate, but I just got my master's, and I'd like to enjoy that for a year or two before I start putting myself through classes again.
Go.
And for the last question, why do you hate the word sheesh?
Okay, so sheesh. I don't have a problem with the word sheesh, but it's inconsistent usage within the language. If it has a defined definition and use, like the word yeet. Yeet is funny. It's entertaining. It's random. It has a defined definition and use. Sheesh is like an emotional outburst, but it is a word that already had a definition. So now it's being altered, So, it's the inconsistent usage. Not the word itself. The word is fine. But the way people use it is wrong, and I stand on that mountain and willing to die on it.